Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to my show this morning. I have a little talk, about 45 minutes, on alpine glaciers, Pacific salmon on the trees of the Pacific Northwest, on whales and otters and other sea mammals, big bears and little bears, and some other Alaskan wildlife. So, calving is a term that we use to describe pieces of ice that fall from the face of a glacier. And it can be quite exciting to watch, especially if you see really big chunks break off and fall into the sea. You get those great big huge splashes like you see here. And it's pretty awesome, especially if you're pretty close to it. To get a video of some of this stuff falling off the ice, patience is a virtue. You have to listen, and you hear a little bit of a crumble over in that corner, and you point the camera, and you wait, and maybe you get lucky, and maybe you wait a long time, and you waste a lot of video time. But sometimes you get lucky and you see a little bit coming off there. And you say, okay, that piece went, and will a bigger piece go? And it's quite exciting. And there we go. So it was worth the wait, and I got lucky with the camera. Well, I'm retired now and enjoying that. But in my working career, I was a university college professor and taught in forest technology programs. And I'm a registered professional forester and a registered forest technologist. But I taught courses like forest ecosystems and photo interpretation and remote sensing and glaciology and landforms and things like that. So I enjoy teaching other people about all of those things, even in my retirement. Okay, now we see our friend the sea otter, not to be confused with our friend the river otter, because you'll find those on docks and boats and around the seashore as well. Everybody loves the sea otter, and I think if I had to pick my favorite of all of the critters in the water in the north, the sea otter is likely the cutest, and you'll see those floating around on their back like this little guy is doing. The male on these ones is about 5 feet long, so they're not small, and they weigh about 70 pounds, while the females are a little bit shorter at around 4 feet, and they weigh about 60 pounds. A little bit smaller. Now, when you're looking for sea otters, if you're out on deck, on the promenade deck, have a look for what you might think is a seabird in the distance or a chunk of driftwood and so on. And more often than not, as you get a little bit closer, you check with binoculars, you'll find that it's probably a sea otter, because they're quite abundant in northern waters. The humpbacks are about the 6th largest in the world. The blue whales, of course, are the largest. And an interesting thing about the humpbacks is that the females grow a bit larger than the males, and they average about 45 to 49 feet in length. And they weigh about 35 tons. The males are a little bit smaller, 42, 46 feet, and only at 25 tons. What I like to share with passengers is some experiences in the far north, in the Arctic and in Alaska and colder waters, to see the wilderness, see the animals, the fish, the sea life, and all those wonderful things. And I think that's why most of us head up to Alaska, to see that wilderness and see the glaciers and see wildlife that we don't see back home. So we've got a couple of different types of glaciers by definition, and one is the continental glacier, and the other is an alpine or a valley glacier. The Antarctic and the Greenland ice sheets are continental glacier examples, and the Greenland ice sheet is as much as 3,200 meters thick, so that's about 10,000 feet thick, and that's a lot of ice. The terms alpine and valley glaciers are more or less synonymous. They're much the same thing. And most of the ones that we'll see, of course, from a ship are what we call tidewater glaciers. In other words, they terminate into the ocean where there is a tide. You know, as a retired professor, I can't help but try and continue teaching people things. And the more you know about a subject, the more you'll enjoy it. If you know something about what you're going to see, and you know something about the animals and the whales and how they feed and what their habits are, when you see one, it just means that much more to you, and it really enriches your experience. when you see something that you already understand something about. And I think that's why I enjoy teaching, is because people enjoy learning things about what they're going to see.